Oh my God, y'all. I cannot believe how angry some of you got at my suggestion for Wendi to come forward and get in front of this before it gets in front of her. I cannot believe, with as wordy as I am and how I explain my every thought, I mean, ad nauseum, really, that y'all think that I want her to just, get this great deal and not do any real time. But what y'all are all failing to understand is if we don't reduce the sentence for her, she'll never take the deal. And if a sentence for her is too harsh, like 15 years or 20 years, she would never go for that. And if she does get a good deal, like say 5 to 7 to 10 years tops, the contrast of all the other involved parties' sentences will be so much longer compared to her that it would almost be the same as her getting off scot-free. So in order to justify giving Wendi a 5 to 7 year deal that she would accept, you'd have to reduce the others, because otherwise it's just so unfair that we'd be right back where we were, like with her not taking a deal. So that's why I really think that, if you want to motivate her and tempt her to do the right thing, which I do. I mean, I really believe, after listening to some of those jail calls and just thinking about all the lives and the children's lives that are affected by never seeing their dad again, and just, the ripple effect just goes on and on and on. And I think that if she were to be convinced to take a deal, it could be such a good thing for the boys, because she would give the Markels, she would appoint them guardian and Shelley or whoever. And how could everybody else that's involved not have a lighter heart, knowing that she was the savior, even though I know all the things that you say about her character and all of her motivations. And trust me, like I told you, 66 years old, I was not born yesterday, and I can rarely be fooled by anybody's intentions. But this particular case, the way that everybody is so involved in it, myself included, I mean, let me tell you, there are so many cases that I've watched, I mean, thousands. And, I've been watching trials since right before OJ. I gotten hooked on court TV, and I mean, I've seen a lot, but this is the only case. I mean, maybe the Casey Anthony case was close in terms of the interest, but once Casey Anthony got off, that was pretty much it. It slowly died down and she went into hiding. But with this case, and that case only went on for, I want to say 3 years or so, whereas this one, it's hitting the 10-year mark and it's still not done. And so the way that I'm viewing it is from a different perspective, where we could end this, we could reduce so many parties involved suffering. And while I really don't care if they suffer or not after what they did, it couldn't help but ease the suffering for Ruth Markel, Phil Markel, Shelley, the cousins, the boys even, because they could then begin to heal and get to know the Markels. And the other children involved will be able to see their parents at some point. And everybody would just have a lighter heart. And if they could all have pay their debt to society. And again, it boggles my mind that people are like, 10 years is nothing. I'd like to see y'all do 10 years. I know for myself, I couldn't do a week in jail. I'd hang myself. I know I would. I mean, I could probably do a week if I knew I was getting out in a week, like Paris Hilton. But if I had to do any sentence longer than 2 years, I just don't see myself being able to do it. And so many people I know would not be able to. And therefore, when you say that 5 years or 7 years is just not harsh enough, it is if you think of it like this. until she does take a deal and get everybody involved, a lighter sentence and the ability to move on, until she does that, it's just going to keep being a painful experience for the Markels, for the families of the children, and even the viewing public is just going to be so frustrated seeing her get off scot-free. And then when her mom dies and dad, which is probably going to happen soon, she's going to inherit even more millions, and she's just going to go off into the sunset with all these millions and never having paid any kind of debt to society. And if y'all don't think that that would frustrate y'all so much more, then you're not being realistic. And yes, I do have a lot of faith in our justice system and in Georgia, but I just think that she's almost getting to the point of diminishing returns. And I think, and it could be wrong, that there's a good chance that she just doesn't think she has it, and she's not going to ruin every single thing that she's accomplished by having a big fail. So I could be wrong about that too. I don't know. I don't have any inside scoop. But I just thought I would share with y'all that I'm not this, I'm not an advocate for Wendi by no means. But I also am an advocate for when I see something that I think that something could be worked out, I'm going to say it. I'm going to offer it. And that's what I've done here. And I'm sorry if I've offended anybody, but I'm really not, because, it's not like, I'm right there with you all. I'm in the forums. I'm reading it. I'm obsessing on it. I want to see justice served so bad. But the way I look at it, I'd like to see, yes, I would love to see Georgia go after her. Everybody else still do the time that they're doing, and she gets 20 years or something, even 10 years for perjury. That would be great. But it's a risk. And I'm weighing the reward and think that a compromise could be made so that she's guaranteed jail time and Georgia is guaranteed a win, and there's no more risking involved. It's a done deal. So that's what I think. And I also think that Chris DeCoste, I loved him, the way he interrogated her. I would love for her to go to him and hire him as a lawyer, because he was so mad and passionate that she needed to speak the truth. So if she's willing to do that, who better to represent her speaking her truth than Chris DeCoste? So that's my take on it. And again, y'all can save all your hate because it bounces off me like y'all are rubber and glue. But to the few people that really did, like my perspective and kind of thought that I had something here, I want to just say thanks. And that's it. Bye, y'all.